I'm going to show you some deck building for my Gondor Swarm decks that I have. It's a contract deck, Messenger of the King. You can't choose more than 2 heroes during setup. Choose a non-neutral unique ally from your deck and put it into play. Add the sum of that ally's printed willpower, attack, defense, and hit points to your starting threat. Then flip this card over and attach it to that ally. Side B. Attached ally loses the ally card type and gains the hero card type. Attached character can't be readied more than once per phase. Messenger of the King is immune to card effects while attached character is in play. If attached character leaves play, remove Messenger of the King from the game. And the ally that I choose is Faramir. He equals up to a 5 threat leadership hero, a 2/1/3 2/3 Gondor Noble Ranger. It's an action. Exhaust Faramir to choose a player. Each character controlled by that player gets +1 willpower until the end of the phase. My Boromir. He's an 11 threat leadership hero. 1/3/2/5 Gondor Noble Warrior. Well, Boromir has at least 1 resource in his resource pool. Gondor allies get +1 attack. And the third hero is Denethor. He's an 8 threat leadership hero. 1/1/3/3 Gondor Noble Steward. Setup. Add 2 resources to Denethor's resource pool. Action. Move 1 resource from Denethor's resource pool to another Gondor hero's resource pool. Limit once per round. So the total starting threat is 27, and it's mono leadership. And the attachments for healing, I have the Dunedain Remedy, where you can spend 1 resource from attached hero's resource pool to heal 1 damage and move it to another hero's resource pool. For card draw, I have Rod of the Steward, attached to a Gondor hero and spend 2 resources from attached hero's resource pool to draw a card. And for weapons, I have the Valiant Sword, attached to a noble hero. All these heroes are noble. Limit 1 per hero. Restricted. Attached hero gets +1 attack, +2 attack instead if your threat is 40 or higher. I have the Sword of Numenor. Costs 1. Attached to a Dunedain or Gondor hero. Restricted. Attached hero gets +1 attack. Response. After attached hero participates in an attack that destroys an enemy with 5 or more printed hit points, exhaust Sword of Numenor to add 1 resource to attached hero's resource pool. And for resource generation, there's the Sword of Numenor and the Steward of Gondor, where you exhaust it to add 2 resources to attach hero's resource pool. For defense, I have the Shining Shield. Attached to a noble hero. Limit 1 per hero. Restricted. Attached hero gets plus 1 defense, plus 2 instead if your threat is 40 or higher. For willpower, I have Visionary Leadership. Attached to a Gondor hero. While attached hero has at least 1 resource in his resource pool, Gondor characters get plus 1 willpower. And for readying and shadow control, I have an Armored Destrier. Attached to a Leadership or Sentinel hero. Restricted. After attached hero defends against an attack, exhaust Armored Destrier to ready attached hero, then discard a shadow card for another enemy engaged with a defending player. And for deck scrying or readying, I have Thorongil. Attached to a non-Fellowship, non-Baggins hero you control. Response. After you attach Thorongil to a hero, search your collection for a different non-Fellowship, non-Baggins version of that hero and attach it to Thorongil. While Thorongil is in play, attached hero gains the game text and resource icon of the attached hero card. If Thorongil leaves play, removes the hero and card attached to it from the game. So you can attach the lore version of Denethor that comes in the core set for deck scrying. You could attach the tactics version of Boromir, who can be readied once per phase by raising your threat by 1. And Faramir, you can attach the lore version that gives you range plus 1 power for each enemy in the staging area and ranged, or attach his leadership version that when an enemy engages you, you could ready a ally. And then I have the Tome of Atanara attached to a leadership hero. Reduce the cost to play Tome of Atanara by 1 for each hero you control with a printed leadership resource icon. So it costs 1. Action. Discard Tome of Atanara to play any leadership event from your discard pile as if it were in your hand. Then place that event at the bottom of your deck. And the last attachment I have is the Dunedain Signal. It only have it in here when I play multiplayer, so I can block characters across the board. It gives a hero Sentinel. And then you can spend 1 resource to move it to another hero. So that's all the attachments. Now I'm going to go to events. You have the Very Good Tale that you can exhaust 2 allies you control to shuffle your deck and discard the top 5 cards. Put up to 2 allies discarded by this effect into play under your control. The total cost of the allies put into play can't exceed the total cost of the allies exhausted to play for this effect. to pay for this effect. So I would say an average amount you do would be 5, because there's a lot of 2 and 3 cost allies. And there's strengths of arms. Play only if you can. Each hero you control has a printed leadership resource icon, and you can ready each ally in play. So not just your allies across the board. And need drives them. Each player whose threat is 40 or higher readies all characters he controls. Grim Resolve. Action. Ready all character cards in play. For Gondor. Until the end of the phase, all characters get +1 attack. And all Gondor characters also get +1 defense until the end of the phase. And the last event is Pillars of the King. While your threat is less than 40, reduce the cost to play Pillars of the King by 4. Action. Set your threat to 40. If this effect raises your threat, draw a card. Draw 4 cards instead if it raises your threat by 10 or more. And my starting threat is 27. So if I get this on the first turn, I can draw 4 cards. So those are the events. And now for my allies. We got the Squire of a Citadel. With a Citadel, it's a 1 cost Gondor ally, 0011. The response: after Squire of the Citadel leaves play, add 1 resource to Gondor's hero's resource pool. So he's a good chump blocker, and when he's destroyed, he pays for himself. And an Errand Rider, a 1 cost Gondor ally, 0002. With an action, exhaust Errand Rider to move 1 resource from a hero's resource pool you control to another hero's resource pool. The Angborn the Fearless, 2 cost Gondor ally, 2120. While your threat is 40 or higher, Angborn the Fearless gets +2 attack and does not exhaust a quest. Then I have Envoy of Pelargir, a 2 cost neutral ally, Gondor, 1101. After Envoy of Pelargir enters play, add 1 resource to a Gondor or noble hero's resource pool. So it's like it costs 1. The Pelargir Ship Captain, 2 cost leadership ally, 1102 Gondor. Response: after Pelargir Ship Captain enters play, move 1 resource from the resource pool of a hero you control to another hero's resource pool. Soldier of Gondor, 2 cost leadership ally, 1112 Gondor. Response: after Soldier of Gondor enters play, search the top 5 cards of your deck for a Gondor ally and add it to your hand. Any number of Gondor allies instead. If your threat is 40 or higher, shuffle your deck. White Tower Watchman, 3 cost neutral ally. 1, 0, 2, 3 Gondor. If each hero you control belongs to the same sphere of influence, you may assign damage from undefended attacks to the White Tower Watchman instead of a hero you control. Veterinary of Ascilius. A 3 cost leadership ally. 1, 2, 1, 2 Gondor Warrior. Veteran of Ascilius gets +1 willpower, attack, and defense when your threat is 40 or higher. Anborn, 4 cost leadership ally. 1, 3, 1, 3 Gondor Ranger. Response: after an enemy is added to the staging area, exhaust Anborn to give that enemy +5 engagement cost until the end of the round. Then deal 1 damage to that enemy. The Knight of the White Tower, 4 cost leadership ally. 2, 2, 3, 3 Gondor Warrior. Knight of the White Tower resource cost must be paid from a single hero's resource pool. And the last card is a Citadel Custodian. It's a 5 cost leadership ally. 1, 0, 1, 3 Gondor. Lower the cost to play Citadel Custodian by 1 for each Gondor ally in play. So the Citadel Custodian is a perfect card to play with the very good tail. There's a good chance you can play it at a very low cost or free, and then exhaust it, and you've got cost of 5. So you can see the theme of this deck is to get allies in quick. The goal is to have Pillars of the King in your starting hand. You can draw 4 cards, and there's the Soldier of Gondor, that if your threat's 40 or higher, you can put all Gondor allies that are in the top 5 cards of your deck when you play it. The Veteran of Ascilius gets +1 to each of its attributes if you're 40 or higher. Angbor the Fearless gets +2 attack and does not exhaust when your threat's 40 or higher. Need drives them, readies all characters in play that have a threat of 40 or higher. And the Valiant Sword gives you +2 attack if your threat is 40 or higher. And the Shining Shield gives you +2 defense if your threat is 40 or higher. So it might seem scary to raise your threat up to 40. But this deck is built to deal with that. And the trick is, with the Pillars of the King, it also works as threat reduction. Because you could play this when you have 49 threat, and you reduce it back down to 40 threat. So once you get it in your hand after you've already passed 40 threat, you can use it as your threat reduction. So there's the Gondor Swarm deck. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.